Alright y'all, I bet you clicked on this video and these surroundings are not necessarily what you anticipated you would see, and I promise this video is full of luxury neighborhoods, luxury suburbs in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. But I promise it won't be the same old, same old. If you've ever Googled anything like this, I'm sure you've heard the hits. We'll talk about the hits, but I want to talk about some places that maybe aren't on your radar. Places like this, undeniably a luxury home in a very, very cool landscape. Forest, wooded area, and we're just inside the metro. Debatably. Right now, I'm just on the edge of the Twin Cities metro in Stillwater, Minnesota, and this place is incredible. This home is incredible. All these homes around here are unbelievable. And Stillwater Township is one of the most beautiful places in the Twin Cities metro. And Stillwater itself also has some phenomenal luxury homes. So let's start off this video talking about stuff that other people aren't talking about. The first place to find an extremely cool, extremely unique luxury home, Stillwater, Minnesota, Stillwater Township. Should we get this video going? Let's go. Alright y'all, and next up on amazing luxury suburbs. Again, this is a place that isn't going to come up on a bunch of lists, but I think it's an amazing spot. It's Lake Elmo. Lake Elmo, for the most part, you're going to have two types of luxury. One is a much newer built in like sort of private, somewhat secluded communities like this one, right? Pretty private, no parking on the street is really allowed. And then the other is going to be like ranch style homes where you have acreage and just kind of epic landscapes. And one of the draws of Lake Elmo is Stillwater School District. We started this whole video in Stillwater. Stillwater schools are very, very high rated. And for the most part, in these really, really nice areas in Lake Elmo, you're going to have Stillwater schools. Median home price here is only $720,000, maybe not only, $720,000, but when it comes to the luxury homes, really probably $1 million plus is where it starts to eke into luxury. 1.2, 1.3 becomes pretty much an undeniable high-end luxury style home, and often comes with a good chunk of land. Alright y'all, next up on the list is Plymouth, Minnesota. And Plymouth is definitely not, full of luxury, but there are several points where you will find very, very great examples of luxury style homes, specifically as it pertains to the new build department. This neighborhood is absolutely packed with, new projects going on from a bunch of different builders. So I suspect this neighborhood will be complete very quickly compared to some of the neighborhoods that are maybe only one builder. And then something that's kind of nice is it creates a bit of diversity in actual architecture, in house style, etc. This house, different enough when it comes to new build. Specifically, I'm talking this northwest portion of Plymouth. The median sale price here is $974,000. That's really high for a suburb. And right now there are over 25 listings on the market that are 1.25 million or higher, largely right in this area, which happens to be right by Weta High School, which also happens to be one of the biggest driving factors for why Plymouth is growing and why there's so much money coming here and why there's so much demand for luxury style living. Weta High School is consistently rated the top, the #1 high school in Minnesota as far as public schools are considered. So again, it's going to be a big driving factor. But all the schools in Weta School District are really, really highly rated across the board. It's top notch. In this neighborhood right now, I'm seeing houses from Stonegate, Gagne, I'm seeing Hanson Builders, Robert Thomas, and the list goes on. There's literally contractors everywhere. But I guess that's the rub. You want a new build, you want an epic new build, either you're gonna pay, you know, closer to $3 million and maybe you'll have something of a more private lot, or you'll end up in a neighborhood like this, a sort of luxury, high-end, beautiful, neighborhoody neighborhood. And next on the list, we're talking Prior Lake. I promise you, the likelihood of you seeing Prior Lake on another list about luxury neighborhoods is probably pretty low. It's not necessarily thought of as being a luxury, you know, suburb or small town really, but the reality is the lake is one of the most used recreational lakes in Minnesota, and especially with a relatively good distance to the Twin City proper. It's really a massive lake, and I mean, it's a Monday right now, and there are a ton of people enjoying themselves out there right now. And yeah, by the way, I did drive all the way to Prior Lake just for you, just for this video. So subscribe to this channel and give it a thumbs up if you haven't yet. Median list price in Prior Lake is like $600,000, which is pretty good, pretty high, but for sure, there's probably about 25 homes on the market right now that would qualify as luxury as far as I'm concerned, $1 million plus, and honestly, it probably costs about $1 million to be on the lake, maybe at all, maybe 8 is the barrier for entry, but a good chunk of money. This is Mud Bay, and the schools here pretty solid. You have Prior Lake High School that gets an A-. You have Shakopee Senior High School that gets an A-. Hidden Oaks Middle, Twin Oaks Middle, Aspen Academy, those are basically A-, A. But yeah, the schools are pretty solid, but they're not elite. You know, they're not like what you see in Plymouth and Weta and some of those areas. They're good, but it's so much of it is about the space. You get, you know, access to such a recreational lake. You're still a decent distance to downtown Minneapolis, maybe 35, 40 minutes from where I am. And I'll say it one more time, you get the lake. All right, y'all, I got another spot that for sure is not coming up on other lists, and I think it's a different kind of luxury, kind of like where we started, kind of like the Stillwater area, like Lake Elmo, kind of like where we just were in Prior Lake, but it's the more equestrian side of things. If you want a proper estate and you want land and maybe you want a view across a, you know, semi-rural area, then this spot right here is really worth considering. More or less, it's Credit River Township. I'd be shocked if you've even heard of this before, other than maybe looking at Zillow. But Credit River Township, very, very rural community, a township as the name implies, and it's basically to the west of Lakeville, to the south of Prior Lake and Savage, and north of Elko, Newmarket. And this community in particular is all new builds. You can tell that the land got very recently developed, and there are many lots available. It's called The Ranch at Credit River, and these houses, There's these two are right here, and then just cornfields, farmlands, wooded areas, pretty much all around. And then over here, there's kind of maybe 3 more houses going in currently. A lot of lots available here, and the beautiful thing is that it's all different custom builders. It's not going to be particularly, well, really, it's not going to be at all cookie cutter. You're going to see a lot of variety in housing stock, and the builders that are building here, very, very nice. We'd be happy to help you navigate that process with what builder are you choosing, etc. It's a little bit of a shame that they're building over there, because if they weren't, it would be so quiet here, so rural, so out in the wilderness. I'm tempted to just give you a second, yeah, basically a little bit of construction noise, and that's because that's right down there. But other than that, so chill, so peaceful, and it feels high-end and luxurious because of the homes that are around, because of how beautiful the topography is, and all that. Median sale price is around $800,000, $900,000 in this Credit River area, and there's probably 15 or 20 homes on the market that are over 1.1 million, and some of them have a ton of land. So maybe you're thinking, you know, you'd like to do one of these, which are in more of a neighborhood, but there also is an opportunity to get much more land, spend more money, put a custom home on it at other places in the Credit River area. So again, all things worth considering, and all things that I would say qualify as luxury. Again, a different kind of luxury than I think some people are thinking. This isn't a Beverly Hills style luxury, it's closer to a Yellowstone, which actually, that's pretty cool style luxury if you ask me. Alright, next up on the list of best luxury suburbs, and specifically this is a neighborhood within a suburb, and the suburb is called Golden Valley. The neighborhood is called T-Roll Hills. You also might see it on the map as Glenwood Junction. There are beautiful homes here, and it is a really just a divine landscape, topography, rolling hills, forested, wooded. It's just to the west of Theodore Ward Parkway, which is without a doubt a big value add. It's also right by Breck School, which is a very, very sought after, desirable private school. It's a K-12 school. And basically this neighborhood sits to the west of Theodore Worth Parkway, the south of Olson Memorial Parkway, to the east of Highway 100, and the north of 394. Check it out. And next up on the list is, I promise you, this is not going to show up on pretty much any list anywhere on the internet because it is very small, but it is densely packed with very, very nice homes. Definitely homes that border on luxury and a little bit more stately. It's somewhere in between the Prior Lake, Stillwater Township, sort of a huge area, maybe Independence, and maybe Lake Elmo or Plymouth or something like that. It feels suburban. It's very close to both downtowns, really. Pretty good access to both downtowns, but you have these large lots, a very natural feeling area, and it's just really quite beautiful. And this is Sunfish Lake. The median close price here is right around $1 million. But there's not that much data because it's not that big of an area. It's literally 1.7 square miles and a population of like 500 people in Sunfish Lake, and the entire city is zoned single family residential. There's no commercial at all in Sunfish Lake, and that's how it feels. It could very well just be a community within another, city. It's very close to Mota Heights, but it's not Mota Heights. It's a different thing. It's Sunfish Lake. You have access to really high level private schools, and I would say that's probably one of the biggest factors, one of the biggest reasons that this place has the reputation, has the dollar amount that it does. The two schools worth noting: St. Thomas Academy, it's an A+ private middle and high school, very, very highly rated, highly regarded. And then also you have Visitation, which is a private K through 12 school, A+ as well. So if you're looking for a good kind of, stretch your shoulders out while still being really close to both downtowns with exceptional private school access, then maybe Sunfish Lake should be on your radar. All right, y'all, we have officially met up with Steve. Hey, Steve.
What's up?
Thanks for being here. This neighborhood right now that we're in is actually Cedar Isles Dean, which is actually a neighborhood that I put in a different video, the other video about the best neighborhoods in the Twin Cities. Again, we're talking suburbs. But as we take this corner around this street, we will be heading into St. Louis Park, and specifically into the Lake Forest neighborhood. And this house behind us right now is literally one of Steve's favorite
We wanted
houses.
to highlight this because, I've just, living in Uptown years and years ago, riding around Lake of the Isles, whatever, going to the beach. This house in particular always stuck out to me. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Such a great example of really traditional mid-century architecture.
Yeah.
One of my favorites for sure. But
True mid-century, Frank Lloyd Wright-esque, and like a luxurious example of it.
Absolutely.
And this spot right here, like literally within the next 30 feet, we'll be crossing into St. Louis Park. Behind us over here is Lake of the Isles. No, Cedar Lake, sorry, beautiful lake. Right over here, it's a great like marshy area. I don't remember what it is, but I believe it's one of the only homes to a certain bird species in Minnesota. But it's a beautiful spot, walking paths and stuff going through it. So to be here in the St. Louis Park, Lake Forest area, such a cool spot to be.
So the median sale price in Lake Forest and Fern Hills is in the $630 range, which I wouldn't really consider a luxury price, but there are several examples of homes that are either listed or sold for over $1 million. Typically older homes, kind of like the one we just walked by. A lot of mid-century stuff here as well. I actually helped some of our friends buy in Lake Forest last year around this time.
Yeah.
Beautiful traditional mid-century
Such a cool
home.
house.
Going to be coming up for sale in the next couple months. We're listing that one, so look out for that.
Only due to relocation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They love it.
Yeah, they're actually like mourning the idea of leaving the area. But yeah, job stuff.
Life calls.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. But that house is so cool. That little neighborhood, so cool. The mid-century prospects here are some of the coolest in all of the Twin Cities.
Yeah, if you've got 800, 900, over $1 million for sure, and that's your style, I mean, this is definitely a place I would start looking.
Yeah, one of the top spots for all of that stuff. And so you're in St. Louis Park right now, technically, officially St. Louis Park. The public schools in St. Louis Park are solid, but are not outstanding, right? But there are some very, very high level private schools very nearby. Two that come to mind are Breck, which is a K through 12 private school, really nearby, just on the other side of 394 really. And then the other that comes to mind is Benilde St. Margaret, which is a high school beautiful school, and I think a decent amount of the people who are looking for luxury style homes, luxury living in this area are probably going to be also looking at private schools.
For sure, yeah. If you're shopping in this budget for a home, you likely also have the means to, you know, explore private school options for education.
Totally.
Absolutely.
And some of the premier private schools for sure, very nearby.
So even though we're technically not in Minneapolis, you do still get, you know, you get a lot of the things that you would want living in an area like Cedar Isles, Dean, but in kind of like technically a suburb. St. Louis Park is a suburb of Minneapolis, so kind of akin to the Morningside Edina to Linden Hills. Super close. It's really difficult to even see where the line would be drawn.
Yeah, just
you know,
somewhere back there.
Yeah, right. So yeah, a little bit of best of both worlds in that respect.
Yeah, and even the houses we're walking up to right now, I just want to show you these, like,
incredible.
Super sick house, beautiful house right there. All back in here are some truly, truly stunning homes. And yeah, let's take a look at some other spots.
Okay, now we are in Fox Meadow Park, which is a really beautiful park in Parkwood Knolls, Edina. Northwestern quadrant of Edina, so not too far from where we just came from. Pretty close to Hopkins, actually, which I was kind of surprised to see.
Yeah, kind of tucked in within like an L-shaped nook of Hopkins, which is actually, there's a beautiful part of Hopkins there as well. But again, more Edina, more very, very stately homes. There's a gated community right over there, Oak
Pond, I think.
Oak Pond, yeah. Really, really beautiful spot. And I mean, everything around here is like, oh, okay, that's another one of the coolest houses I've seen. It's very, very dense. The median sale price is $1.7 million, which has got to be one of the highest median sale prices of any neighborhood.
I mean, it just keeps going up as we get more and more around Edina. But yeah, 1.7, highest I've heard thus far.
Yep, and you know, home prices that would probably qualify as luxury, probably 1.5 up to 5.
Yeah.
You know, I bet less than 1.5. Still very, very nice house.
Sure, yeah, don't get us wrong. Beautiful
yeah.
homes. But yeah, to really feel, you know, the difference between a very, very nice home and luxury home, I think it's in that $1.5 million range, generally speaking.
Yeah, this, it feels crazy. Like, these homes, they almost feel like European, you know, they feel like luxury architecture in
so
a totally different place.
Roofs.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Different. Like we're in Sweden or something.
Yeah, you really start to see different materials and like a different level of material used in these luxury areas. And Parkwood Knolls for sure is one of them. Again, Edina, everywhere. Throw a dart at a map of Edina. There's a good chance you'll be within throwing distance of a luxury home. But definitely a place like Parkwood Knolls is next level. All right, y'all, and right now we are actually not really in a neighborhood at all. We are
neighborhood adjacent
to a neighborhood. This is actually the first ever gated community in Minnesota. It started in 1997. It's called Bear Path. It's a very cool neighborhood in Eden Prairie. Median sale price $1.25 million, and the namesake of Bear Path is the golf course, or the country club, which was actually designed by Jack Nicklaus.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
Golden
cool.
Bear.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Very cool. And like we mentioned, we are on the outside of Bear Path right now because we didn't want to schedule a showing just to get inside. It is a proper gated community. There is like an attendant outside, I think 24 hours.
Yeah, security all the time,
Yeah.
proper gated, yeah.
It's not just single family homes. I mean, for the most part it is, it's about 70%, but there are townhome options or condo options, twin houses in Bear Path as well. A lot of it, started in 97, so it does have, from what we can see even, this kind of does have a 90s feel.
Yeah.
With that said, there are notable architects that have, built homes in Bear Path.
Yeah, it was very much designed, the intention very much to be a luxury community, gated luxury community from the start. But, some of it might start to feel a little dated, given that it was built in 97. But obviously, because of how desirable it is, how high-end, people have renovated as well. So some very, very cool homes, and just a lot of attraction to Eden Prairie as a whole. I don't think of Eden Prairie as a luxury suburb. I think of it as a very nice suburb.
Yeah, very suburby suburb.
Yeah, the ultimate suburb perhaps. But I don't think of it as overall particularly luxury, except Bear Path and maybe a few other spots, maybe on lakes, things like that. But a lot of that has to do with the schools here.
Yep, the public schools in Eden Prairie are among the top 5, possibly top 3, kind of depending on what site you're, researching. But yeah, very, very well-regarded public school system in Eden Prairie.
Yeah, and a very, very full amenities as it pertains to just like regular life, living life, getting groceries, a great mall. So there's plenty of amenities as far as those things are concerned. And so really, if you're looking for what is fairly normal suburban lifestyle in Eden Prairie on the whole, very nice, still an elevated feel, but you want the security of a gated community with 24/7 security.
Live on a golf course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lake Riley, right across here. Very
That's
nice
true.
looking lake.
That's true. And there's a walking path that walks through the Bear Path community, and walking and biking paths all around that as well. Look at us. A couple tall guys ducking under trees. Okay, I think that's it for Bear Path. We're gonna keep moving. All right, friends, and now we're somewhere that I bet is not showing up on any other list. Nobody's talking about this as a potential place to find a luxury home. It's probably not really on many YouTube channels at all. It's Independence, Minnesota. And yeah, it's pretty rural. Is it in the Twin Cities? Debatable.
Yeah. Right on the edge,
Yeah.
I would say.
It's literally right on the edge. So if what you're after is like this absolute expanse, wide open feel, rural feel, while still being tolerably close to Minneapolis proper or, downtown.
I mean, it was an 18-minute drive from where we just were in Weta,
Yeah.
depending on where this is in the video. But
Yeah.
it's not that far away from, what feels like populated space
Yeah.
in Twin Cities.
And it basically feels like suburbs and then Independence, where you have this sprawling, I literally said I feel like I'm on the set of Dances with Wolves right now.
Yeah, there is right now a person riding a horse in the distance.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see him over there. There's just somebody riding a horse. That's pretty cool. So kind of an equestrian area, and very much about the expanse and the landscape and the wide open, but for sure some unbelievable luxury properties.
Just for some frame of reference, median sale price in Independence is just under $1 million, right around $950. But there are several, we think we counted 15 or so, currently active properties that are above 1.25 million, up to about 3 million.
Up to about 3, and you're gonna get land, you're gonna have space and a huge house probably in that price range. And I mean, Independence itself, very cute little downtown-y kind of area. Basically the next stop outside of the metro is Rockford. And you're not that far from Lake Minnetonka. and the likes of that. So if what you're after is equestrian lifestyle, but maybe you dream about boat life, not a bad spot to be.
Pretty close. And awesome public schools. Orono School District, you know, like we mentioned before, very highly rated.
Very highly rated for sure, yeah. And so some of Independence goes to Delano. Also, Delano has great schools as well. But for sure, if this is what you're after, luxury, but not
so serene.
Yeah, not Beverly Hills luxury, right? Like a different animal.
Yeah.
A horse, perhaps.
Horse people luxury.
Yeah, then Independence for sure should be on the list.
Right now we're in Morningside, Idina, which is a neighborhood directly to the west of Linden Hills, which we have a video on. Check that out. Jesse and I did that about a year ago.
We have a video on this.
Morningside video, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're interested about this specific area, check that out. But yeah, I mean, it's a good example of a luxury area in Idina, one of many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could qualify all of Edina pretty much as opportunity for luxury, if not, you know, luxury proper.
Yeah, it's interesting. In Edina, median sale price is $824,000. The reality is $824,000, not even close to luxury style home. To get into luxury territory in Edina, realistically, probably talking closer to 1.5.
Well over $1 million.
Yeah, if not 2, to be honest, to really be in like luxury territory. That house that we were by right when we started, that's in the $2 to $3 million range. And there's gonna be a few kind of as we're walking that are in that range, but you can get a more modest house. It's crazy to say modest, but for like 1.5. And I will say in the $800,000 range, we literally did a video on this channel that is a home tour of a home built by City Homes, who's actually a Morningside, local to Morningside builder. And that house, the lot was bought with a home on it for $900,000. It got scraped.
The home was completely torn down.
Completely torn down.
This beautiful new build. But that's just an example of, that was $900,000.
Yeah.
They just tore the house down.
Yeah, so that kind of speaks to the value of the land here, which then, okay, if the land costs $900,000, to put a new build home like some of the ones we're walking by, that's gonna be a good chunk of money. To not only put a home on top of a $900,000 lot, but a luxury home, yeah, you're starting to get up into that 2.5, 3, 5, up to 5 million.
We were looking at just this grouping of active listings, and there were several that were in the $5 million range.
Yeah, probably 3 that are right around 5 million, and then 20 that are, over 2.5 or something like that. So a lot of opportunity for it. Really cool neighborhood, like just a great little spot. But Edina as a whole, a big driver, big reason why it's luxury, friendly, is the public schools. And the schools in general. You have Edina Senior High School. That is a public school, A+, one of the top rated schools in Minneapolis, or in Minnesota, all the time. Like literally, since I've known about school ratings, that school has been in that upper echelon.
Top of the heap.
Absolutely. Middle schools as well. And then there's the Blake, his private school, K through 12, also A+. That the opportunity for that is such a driver for, money, investment into the neighborhood. And that's, again, why you can justify a $5 million home in this area.
One of the main characteristics of Morningside is the homes in general are a little bit older, so it is closer to the city, which typically, in any neighborhood is going to mean that the homes are slightly older. Path of progress always moves away from central downtown area. So yeah, a little bit tighter, average age, a little bit older in Morningside. As we get a little bit further south and west, it does start to feel more suburban.
Yeah.
Bigger yards.
You'll see, we'll go to some spots. Southwest Edina, totally way different than Northeast Edina.
But this does still have a very cool feel, especially if you like kind of more city living. You know, smaller yards, closer to, you know, Linden Hills, for example, the lakes.
Yeah, and you're surrounded by older homes too. I don't know exactly, but my guess is that the average age of the home here, at least when they were originally built, because now there's a lot of new builds coming in, but I'm sure it's closer to the 50s.
Sure.
You know?
This is a really interesting example of a giant new build right next to a pretty modest looking 50s home.
Yeah, so you can see this new build right here, and then that's just a Rambler.
Yeah,
that's a pretty
that
regular.
looks pretty similar to my house, Northeast.
Yeah,
that one's probably 4 times as expensive, but
yeah, true. I mean, yeah, that's an example, right? Of that's probably 8 or maybe 6, you know, something like that. But yeah, it's an interesting mix of all those things here. As it gets a little more suburban as you head to the south and the west, but all really good potential for luxury. You'll see a lot of homes. If that house was listed, there's a really good chance that there would be almost two listings. One would be by a builder that is saying, we'll tear this down and put a new thing here. One might be by a listing agent if you just want to live here, you can live here.
Sure.
So, interesting place, beautiful place, as close to city living as you get here in Morningside. And then we'll show you some other spots that are very cool, very luxurious, and pretty undeniable. All right, y'all, right now we're in the country club neighborhood of Edina. Right here is Minnehaha Creek. And if you look at it, if you're familiar with Minnehaha Creek, that doesn't look like most of Minnehaha Creek.
No, I've never seen a section that's that wide.
Yeah, and
Minnehaha Creek.
and sort of like
surprised.
lakey,
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Yeah, it's most of Minnehaha Creek would not be kayakable or canoeable.
True.
But right there is.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But at least most of Minnehaha Creek in Minneapolis.
So we're still in the northeast corner of Edina. Right across the creek is actually the Sunny Slope neighborhood. Both Sunny Slope and Country Club are really, really good examples of high concentration of mostly older but very, very luxury homes, as you'll see as we're walking down the sidewalk here shortly. Yeah. Typically, not a lot of new builds on this block in particular, but definitely luxury.
Yeah, because partly because they're on the creek. That's like back in the day, luxury homes were built here because it's such a prized real estate. So you have these older homes that still are full of all of this character and still, by today's standards, would qualify as luxury.
Absolutely, and just judging by the exterior, incredibly well maintained.
I mean, crazy how nice these houses are. Median list price in Country Club and Sunny Slope is like 1.5 million, and
definitely goes up from there.
And it
Several
shows
on the market currently in like the 2 to 3 range.
Yep, and it shows. It is truly a stunning area, and that kind of slept on. I will say, I don't think you'll see this neighborhood that much on the internet, in videos or anything like that. This is low hype, but extremely high return. Like, it's such a cool neighborhood. And I mean, pretty much every one of these houses could be close to luxury, but the ones that are clearly luxury are particularly inspired.
Impressive.
And timeless.
And as the name would imply, we are very close to the Edina Country Club, directly north at the moment. But Sunny Slope also kind of almost conjoined with Country Club, north of the Edina Country Club, and then Arden Park as well, another neighboring neighborhood. Yeah,
and I think you'll see like the timelessness of this neighborhood is something that's very, very special. There's this very stately feel to it. But for sure, other parts of Edina, it's still very impressive, but again, maybe a little more suburban, a little less timeless feel as it applies to the architecture and all that. So if this is what you're looking for, this northeast quadrant is gonna be one of the densest spots for older luxury homes in the Twin Cities. Hard stop in the Twin Cities in all of Minnesota. But if you're looking for luxury with a more suburban feel, I guess that's next. Actually, real quick, we're still in Country Club. We're just like basically across the street, but we thought it would be worth the time and worth explaining the fact that you have this like diverse examples of luxury homes, different styles of architecture.
Yeah, so like for example, right behind us is a perfect example of like a classic colonial style architecture.
Very, very cool.
And then just right across the street on the corner we're on right now, really beautiful Spanish architectural style. Right next to each other.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Just on the street, there's sort of like Bavarian style. There's some mid-century stuff as well. Such a cool spot.
Beautiful Tudors. This really like stone exterior home across the street here.
Sort of Cotswold, you know, like English Cotswold. I mean, it's so cool, like how much variety in architecture there is. Again, very few places where this exists.
Okay, now we are in Weta, which is, I think for my money, the quintessential luxury suburb of Minnesota. Some might say Idina. When we first thought of this video, Jesse put an Instagram post up getting suggestions from followers, and Weta was clear number one.
For sure, number one by like a few recommendations. You know, probably 3, 4, 5 people said Idina, whereas like 7 or 8 said Weta. And almost any time Idina was included, it would be like Idina, Weta.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it's not Weta. So if you're looking at it on a map, you're welcome. It's called Weta here. That's a very, very unexpected way of pronouncing the name of this town.
But yeah, so right now we're on the very north end of Lake Minnetonka, one of the primary landmarks or watermarks, I guess, a better way to put it, of this area.
And it's without a doubt, Lake Minnetonka is the most traveled, most recreationally used lake in the Twin City Metro, if not all of Minnesota.
I mean, yeah, that
like Mille Lacs comes to mind.
Maybe some places up north, I was going to say.
Lake of the Woods, but
yeah, if you're talking about Twin Cities Metro,
without a doubt,
Lake Minnetonka number one, no question about that.
And it's huge. It's a big chain of lakes. It's beautiful, and so we're not really just talking about Weta here. We're talking about all of, and you'll have plenty of B-roll this, all of the cities, the towns around Lake Minnetonka, which we're actually going to do a whole virtual tour of Lake Minnetonka neighborhoods. There's so many different ones. There's Minnetonka, which is huge. There's Weta, which is small. There's Excelsior, which is even smaller, and there's all these little towns around the lake.
So if we're talking just Weta, it's around $1 million for the median sale price, but the focus of this section of the video is kind of the greater Lake Minnetonka area, which there are some insane homes. If you get on the lake, in some of these like smaller towns around the lake, Greenhaven, little towns like Greenwood, Minnetonka Beach, Orono. I mean, we're just going through some of the listings that are currently active. I mean, prices in the 7 million, 8 million, up to like 11 million in some cases.
Yeah, if somebody was like, what's the most expensive house on the market? If I couldn't just go on the MLS and sort by dollar amount, I would just start perusing over by Lake Minnetonka, because almost for sure that's where it's going to be. It's very, very desired real estate. The land itself is so desired. People will buy a plot of land for $2 million here, scrape the house, put in a new house. Like the land itself, so extremely valuable. And a lot of that has to do with, for one, the access to the lake, obviously, right? For the record, there's a yacht club right over here, right? There's a beautiful park space and all of this new commercial and condo space as well. It's crazy right here.
So yeah, access to the lake, obviously super desirable, but the other thing that's very, very desirable about this entire area is the public schools are the best in all of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Weta, pretty much uniformly #1 across the board. Minnetonka in the 1-2 range, Orono in the top, 5-6.
Yeah.
They're all extremely desirable.
I mean, Weta, as far as I know, is in the top 50 in the country, if not, even in the upper half of that top 50. Very, very sought after school district, and it's growing. You can buy houses. The reality is, like, you can get into that school district for, under $1 million with like a nice new build, but can you be this close to the Rotter? No. You'll go inland, you'll go into the likes of Plymouth, which we'll get to. Very cool, by the way. But even Corcoran, Medina, those things, you're seeing that, but it's this access to this water, to this downtown, that's a hard thing to beat. And then anything around the lake, again, you're probably, to be in luxury territory and beyond Lake Minnetonka, 3 million?
I was gonna say over 3,
yeah,
possibly. There's stuff that's, because the kind of the crazy part about some of these smaller towns within Lake Minnetonka, there are like actually more affordable options, but there's to really get the luxury.
There's $250,000 houses in Mound. Yeah, it's crazy. Mound used to just be a small town, and now it's like outside of the metro, and now it's sort of been consumed by the overall Minnetonka conglomerate. And there's still some very, very modest houses there, but here,
to get into that luxury tier,
it's realistically 3 million. If not more, to where the finishes are also luxury and you're on the lake, probably somewhere around 3-4.
Seeing listings in the 7 to 8 million and up range in Minnesota is pretty insane.
Unusual. Yeah, it's only happens in a few places. Maybe your own private island, some lakefront on Lake Minnetonka, and maybe Lake Superior.
I was gonna think like a penthouse and like a condo on, like our side of the Mississippi River.
True. Yeah. I guess like the Timberwolves owner and the Pohlads who own the Twins bought 2 condos that are in like the $20 million range or something like that. But other than that, the rare outlier, it's all right here in Lake Minnetonka, on Lake Minnetonka. Y'all, and last on the list, and again, I think this is a place that you're not necessarily gonna hear about all that often, and this is Mota Heights. Mota Heights, again, similar to Fish Lake, is gonna be just one of the most accessible suburbs to both downtown Minneapolis and downtown St. Paul. It is extremely convenient to both, and there are several nooks, several little spots within Mota Heights that are absolutely packed with beautiful houses. This whole development right here, I think it's Windy Ridge. These houses are absolutely beautiful. There's one on the market right over here, currently listed at $2 million. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, if you want to work with us, reach out to us, go to our website, tothetwincities.com, or shoot us an email directly to info@tothetwincities.com, and we will absolutely crush it for you. If you've enjoyed this video, this video has taken a very long time to shoot. I've gone all over the metro, and for you, again, as a resource for you, as a little bit of entertainment for you, I hope. And I hope that if this is something you're looking for, if you're trying to navigate the luxury aspect of the Twin Cities, I hope that this video has been very helpful to you. If it has, give the video a thumbs up, say something nice in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.